Hi guys, this is the 23rd official Bitcoin meetup. We started at 23 Bitcoin meetups ago. And, oops, sorry. And basically we've been organizing that with the intent to do more of a chat around cryptocurrencies, blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And the point of these meetups is to always present some people who give good topics around something interesting. We have two of these today, it's around these two things, smart contracts and security and ICO valuations. But as every meetup starts, we actually, all meetups, we did a poll of what happened in the last month. What was the interesting thing in the last month? In this case, 2 months, because in December we didn't have one due to the holidays. And this is what you guys think is the most interesting things happening in the whole space, the banks banning in Bulgaria, the scalability issues in Ethereum, and the market going completely lunatics. And the first three will be discussed. So Ripple is also interesting, which is a whole new topic probably for this next meetup. So first of all, hi from Vlad. Vlad is not here. He is on the honeymoon. And this is a picture with his beautiful wife. Basically, they decided to go to the Caribbean. You know, Bitcoin prices are up, so, you know, cash out a little bit. So say hi. This is the guy who just sent us a photo from the ship. They are apparently on a ship. So let's just jump on the topics. The bank's ban in Bulgaria has been very interesting. What happened about 10th of December, more or less, most of the BG banks decided to shut up all the crypto exchanges. And in Bulgaria, the crypto exchanges are not really exchanges, they're market makers, but yeah, they're not working very, at the moment, all of them, Crypto, BG, Exchange BG, Crypto Bank, and so on, are down. This is the thing which is written on the crypto site, очакваме нова система върху нова технология. Today I actually went to Crypto Bank and it seems working. I don't know, probably you guys did a little bit of trading recently. I don't know if they're working. This is a very recent topic, but it's happening. Why it happened? Basically, the Bulgarian National Bank allows a law that basically all the banks can do whatever they want if they see some fraudulent transactions apparently, and the banks decided to close it down. This is a big problem, basically, we see in Bulgaria because there is absolutely no transparency in laws. Here, crypto is like a jungle, nobody knows what it is. We are supposed to only pay taxes on it, but at the end of the day, you see that these things are happening. So this is only for the exchange so far. Personal accounts are working, but we are more and more hearing things in the group that basically some banks are not allowing even personal transactions from, you know, their accounts. So it's kind of happening. The answer is always, we don't work with crypto, so there are some workarounds. Some companies are trying to change the firm's activity, basically in the registry. The point is, how sustainable is that? Because we don't know whether these guys won't close you at some point. Apparently, Postbank and ProCredit are rumored to work. This is still to be confirmed. If somebody knows, that will be interesting to understand. Okay, good. So maybe we have discussion which ones, because it's like I just saw in the group that basically there was a chat from 10 days ago, and there are discussions on which work, which don't, and it doesn't seem very, very clear. The point is that the crypto is entering in this AML, KYC movement with the anti-money laundering, and more of these companies are pressured to ask about, you know, IDs, verification, so on and so forth, which Bulgarian exchanges didn't do. But it's nothing new, in my opinion. Back in the days, I was at some point running bitcoiny.com, which was started by Vlad. And there were people from London coming here, and they asked us, is that illegal? In 2015, basically. So it seems that, you know, Bulgaria is just catching up late. And I believe that the BG banks are rather clueless. They're just following stuff. I'll show you afterwards a screenshot from FIBank. And there is this global trend of shutting down cryptocurrency. Visa just recently shut up all the cards, basically of Zappo and Bitwawa and other companies. So, you know, the big companies are kind of regulating the space in a weird way. And I see a new sort of thing happening right now, the new crypto centralized access, I call it like that. Companies like Revolut at the moment allow you to buy crypto, but they're not really allowing you to buy crypto, you're buying it so participating on the market as a demand, but you don't own it. You cannot transfer it. Robinhood is a company in the US which allows you to put money in stocks, now allows you to buy cryptocurrency in the same way. So Coinbase is kind of similar. Not really, because it's still an exchange, but it's centralized. So probably the access won't be as before, and that's something which is very recent. This is what VBank is actually saying. You know, banks like JP Morgan and Commerzbank and so on are not doing anything with crypto, so we won't do anything with crypto, but doesn't sound very, you know, clear and transparent. So this is something happening. We're still looking at it. We'll see how this develops. The second thing, scalability of Ethereum. Who knows the CryptoKitties? These guys are apparently quite funny. I haven't bought one. I'm not really, maybe I'll play with it because it's very interesting to have fungible assets, non-fungible assets on Ethereum, which is very interesting. But what happened is that apparently 12 million CryptoKitties were bought for less than 10 days, and it caused congestion of the network. This is the transaction, how they go since the CryptoKitties launched. And basically, due to network congestion, they raised the cost. So the miners have incentive to operate. And this is very interesting. And I liked what Asen said, that a fairly good use case of an application on Ethereum actually caused the whole Ethereum network to congest, which basically means that it's not there yet. It's scalability, and this is probably similar with what happens in Bitcoin and Lightning networks and things like that will kind of allow it to scale. And obviously this is a protocol, maybe things will be developed, but still in very early days for applications, because it causes a lot of congestions. And the third one, market going into latest stage of stupidity. For that, I just decided to show you pictures because, you know. So basically, that's probably somebody you kind of know. That's probably one of the most dangerous things because this guy have no fucking clue. He's completely clueless. But his arguments are basically, you guys are anyways going to the casino, so why don't you put money into Bitcoin? And it goes up, so it will just go up forever, which is really danger zone. Like, this is one of those stupidities, and you just, this is a very unsophisticated market buying, and men, you know, people are mortgaging their houses and things like that, which is very bad. This is actually a Japanese band called the Virtual Girls or something like that. They have all the cryptocurrencies on their heads. Actually, I like them because they don't accept for their gigs anything but cryptocurrency, so they're actually helping for the basic adoption. But still, I mean, come on. This is kind of getting a bit funny. This is Fashion TV accepting actually advertising for any sort of cryptocurrency you want. It is Fashion TV, you know. If you want to basically expand your, promote your ICOs or whatever, Fashion TV is the place to go. You can just search it in Google. I couldn't post the prices due to the size of the picture, but you can see it. They're actually affordable, so maybe the models will be your biggest buyers. You never know. This is, oops, sorry. Yeah, I don't know why this happened like that, but anyways, this is Albert Wagner, one of the, it's a very serious venture capitalist in New York, and he's saying, okay, definitely 99 is coming over again. This is EOS in Times Square. Actually, they posted they had a advertising right next to the NASDAQ index where it comes, and you know, these things are Times Square, man, all the tourists. And can we just, I don't know why this happened. Anyways, doesn't matter. One big news which happened a couple of days ago is basically Facebook banned all cryptocurrency ads and all the ICO ads on Facebook, which is very interesting. Like, this is some sort of a, what is it about and why they're stopping it? Probably like, I don't know, it's something happening in the world, basically people are against it, which means that these ICOs, where 1 year ago you could have raised 10 million through forums and things like that. Now everybody wants you like, I don't know, 20K for a post in CoinDesk or whatever. Like, these things are becoming very difficult to advertise, and now without Facebook, they'll be probably more and more difficult to, so the ICO era might have went bust. And this is just a picture from a movie that I really like, and I suggest you to watch it. It's The Big Short, movie about the housing market in the US, basically where a bunch of people are shorting the market because they see that it's obsession. And this is actually a scene where these two guys are basically mortgage loan sellers in Miami, and they're just bragging how they're making fun of everybody via, you know, strippers and things like that. And he's asking, why are they confessing? And the guy's like, they're not confessing, they're bragging. They are selling them. So basically, this sort of thing feels in crypto right now. It's much smaller size, of course, but you know, you need to be careful. So, as every meetup, we actually show the price of both BTC and Ether on the meetup day. So as you can see, we have a very similar thing as this one here, so now it's going up. No, I'm joking, don't take that as advice. So yeah, that's the price. It kind of goes up, first down for a while. With Ethereum is actually quite steep. It doubled since the last meetup. It was in November, so it's about 2 months ago. So that's pretty much the intro of what has been going on, and now I'll present you two speakers. We will also jump with two short presentations in the meanwhile. If you want to come right now, that'll be good. Just what is next, fuck it. Basically, we'll speak about automation of, yeah. Anyways, I'll tell you in a second. Okay, and first I'll invite basically our host, who is Metori from Better House. Basically, we've been doing these meetups completely for free, and he will tell you what we decided to do to renovate this place, because in the summer it's like boiling hot. So we want to put something more refreshing here and kind of renovate the place, and basically he'll tell you more. Cheers.
Thanks, Ivo. Hi guys, my name is Metodi, or Meto. I'm operations director of Better House, and welcome to Better House if there is someone who is first comer to our space and our house. Yeah, thanks to guys like Ivo, Eternity guys, and BitHope Foundation, we actually kind of kick-started these community meetups, I think almost, Ivo, is it like once? 23 months ago, all right. And I think I remember like the first ones, there were like 5 to 10 people gathering here, and the group on Facebook was about, I don't know, 50 people. Yeah, and it's amazing what kind of a journey the entire crypto community has kind of done over these over the past year especially. So I remember these meetups really, you know, now the hall is packed with people, and some of you don't have places to sit. So yeah, it's been a as we call in Bulgarian, it's been a muscle thing. So the entire organization and stuff like that, we really want to basically you know, get more people around the topic. And in 2018 we've discussed about how we can improve on the one side the infrastructure and the experience that you guys have in the space, and on the second hand, like how you guys get more valuable content and quality content for this year. So that's why we decided through the BitHope Foundation basically to launch a crypto crowdfunding campaign for this year. Who of you actually right now is holding some kind of cryptocurrency? Good. Oh, right, okay. Who of those people, have you ever donated to any cause through cryptocurrency? Once, all right. So the thing is, if you go on the BitHope website, this is actually a foundation where you could support, where you can support different type of causes in Bulgaria. So it's actually quite handy if you want to contribute to a special cause and you know, just use your crypto wallets. So this is how you can actually support our campaign here. So there are 3 options, obviously, to donate through Ether, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. There are even, you can even use the hashtags here as well. So basically the idea is on the one side to get you guys more chairs and, you know, just enhance the experience in the room itself.
It's going to be like those movies in the Ringo with those chairs.
Yeah, well, let's see. I mean, if we actually set some goal for that, so it's 3,150 euros. So this is to get the full room renovated and, you know, get you these kind of chairs. Why not? I don't know. I haven't checked the price, but yeah, if they accept Bitcoin, that would be nice. Yeah. So, but on the other side, we want to have more resources in terms of organizing these events and get you guys more up-to-date content and logistics-wise and communication-wise that things improve. So yeah, it's a crowdfunding campaign. It's like a community campaign as well. So if anyone wants to contribute, these are the options here, and you can always find the campaign on the top of the BitHope Foundation site. So yeah, we'll appreciate your support, and thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, so can you I just want to show you the presentations. Anyways, yeah, so basically we have two people who are gonna talk about different topics. One is Peter, who's gonna explain a little bit about smart contracts, and Peter is a researcher actually in Zurich, right? So he's doing very interesting things in real technology, not the ICOs and the parties and things like that. And then Ana Maria will speak about ICO valuation models, and she's gonna present some interesting ways of valuing an ICO. So yeah, that's it. First, Peter can start, and that was pretty much it. Thanks. That's not needed.
Is going? All right, so hi everyone. It's great to be here. We've done quite a few events on security of smart contracts. This is the first time we do one in Sofia, so it's great to be here and see so many people interested in the topic. Right, so as I said, I'm a scientific researcher at ETH Zurich, which is one of the technical universities there, and also a co-founder of Chain Security, where we focus on security of smart contracts. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and get a little bit more technical about to see what are some of these security issues. So last year, how many of you have heard about like a major security issue in Ethereum? I guess most of you. So I'm going to explain to you a little bit more what kind of issues these are and what we can do to, to prevent them in the future. So before I start, let me show you the core people behind the Chain Security team. So we're 5 core people. We're all, so Hubert, me, myself, and Arthur, we all finished our PhDs in topics around blockchain system security at ETH Zurich, and Martin and Laurent are professors working on system security, network security, software reliability topics. And we're part of this ICE center, where we're very actively working on quite a few different research directions, including machine learning, network security, but all this research has pretty strong practical aspects. So today I'm going to talk about the blockchain aspects of this work. All right, so I think this was covered very well just before that. So it really has been, last year was crazy. If you just look at the landscape of Ethereum, of what happened, how much the growth was, how many new platforms have been created in many different domains, it's really been amazing. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen this year. We're just beginning, so quite interesting there. And some things to keep in mind, whenever you have such a growth happening somewhere, when there's money in something, there's interest to break it and to make profit out of it. And quite often, when things get broken in these cryptocurrencies, people get to steal lots of money, and this makes really fascinating news. So in 2016, we had the famous DAO bug, which was the first major security bug in Ethereum. People lost 150 million in the exchange rate back then. Then last year in July, we had the first major bug in the Parity wallet. Have you guys heard about this one? So yeah, 30 million stolen. Sorry? Yes, I think they're familiar with that one. Then exactly in the same contract, just a couple of months later, there was another major bug. And basically 150 million's worth of Ethereum were frozen, so people were unable to use them. Accidental, yes. And the interesting thing is that these are not issues these are not security bugs these are not bugs that just inconvenience. People really lose money. We know some of these people, including some startups in Zug, that basically lost all their money. So we have to do something about it. So how many people have seen what a smart contract looks like? Some of you. Okay, not everyone is raising hands, so let me show you. It's nothing complicated. So here, this is it's just like a standard piece of software. So here we have a contract that has this balances mapping, which basically keeps track of how many, for example, tokens or balances each user has. And then it has this withdraw function that allows users so basically users can make transactions to this function, and then they can get their money. So what's happening is this would take the amount of basically the balance of the user, then multiply it yeah, actually it would just take it, and then it would call this fancy transfer function, which actually triggers a transfer of Ether to the transaction sender. So as I said, it's nothing special. It's basically small programs, typically few hundred lines of code. They handle money, so they actually transfer Ether. They're not executed on your local machine. They're executed by the Ethereum blockchain. That's key difference. And they're typically written in new kind of languages. For example, in Ethereum, they use currently the most famous language is Solidity, but there are also other options here. One important thing, especially in security, is that once you deploy your contract on the blockchain, you will not be able to update it. So you better make sure that it doesn't have any security issues there. So when you read this first line, right, so you have a program that handles money, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, what can go wrong? And let's walk a quick kind of walk through some of the parity bugs to show you what were actually the issues that caused people to lose so much money. So July 2017, we had the first one. And the bug looked something like this. So there was a code like this. So it was a wallet smart contract that is a little bit more special. So it has this owner there, which basically keeps track of who is the owner of this contract. Then you can initialize the wallets by saying who should be the owner of that contract. And then there's a withdraw function that has this special check here. So if the message sender is the owner, only then you can, only then you transfer the money to the transaction sender. So this basically is saying that, only the owner should be able to get money out of this contract. So can anybody spot what's going on here? What can go wrong? Yeah, exactly. So what can happen is, if you're careful, there's this init wallet function, so I can just call it. I will pass my address to this function. I will become the owner of the contract, and then I'll withdraw all the money. So that's basically what happens, and people lost 30 million worth of Ether because of this bug. So that was the issue here. So essentially what's happening is any user in the Ethereum community could take ownership over the wallet. So that's a very bad thing. Let's go fast forward 4 months later. What happened? We had another major bug. And in this case, the bug was kind of different. So we had this wallet contract. And the special thing here is there's this wallet library. Okay? And basically what this is doing is some of the functionality of the wallet is transferred to this wallet library. So, for example, you have this payable function here. And whenever you call this function, instead of running the code of the contract, basically you delegate the code, meaning that you execute the same function that's present in this wallet library. Does this make sense to anyone? Or I'm losing everyone? All right, well, do you see anything wrong here? So basically all the codes are being forwarded to this wallet library. So what can go wrong? It's immutable though, so you can't change it. But that's a good try. If you could, that would be pretty good. Anybody else wants to give it a shot? Sorry? Not sure exactly how this would happen. Yeah, that's true. So actually, that's true. And even in the first parity bug, there was a bit of this. But here, actually, what happened is, so somebody accidentally basically removed this wallet library here. And what happened is, the people then would try to withdraw their money. They would call the withdraw function, and this becomes a no. There's no functionality because there's no wallet library on the Ethereum blockchain anymore. So the money became frozen because there's no way you could take the money out of the wallet. So that also caused quite a lot of damage end of last year. All right, so there are many other issues. I'm not going to go through more technical examples, but you have like unexpected Ether flows. For example, if you write a contract where anyone can trigger some kind of transfer of Ether, maybe it's a bad thing. Insecure coding, like if you have owner variables that anybody can change, that's very bad. unsafe inputs. These are kind of standard security bugs that also appear in security, in traditional software, but here they become quite relevant. So next I want to tell you a little bit more about the landscape of opportunities, basically. So what we can do to automatically try to catch these bugs and not have them anymore in the future. So for this I have to get a little bit more technical again, but at a very high level. So think of the smart contract. Think of all possible behavior the smart contract can have, and imagine that this figure here basically highlights this. So in each point here, you can think of if you run the contract with a particular transaction, you get 1 point here, all right? Then basically, some of these behaviors would be buggy. So if you have a security bug, what the attacker would do is he would try to figure out what's the transaction that would exploit your contract, and then he would make that transaction. So for example, if he can become the owner of the contract, he would do that. So it is a very well-known problem in software in general, is that it's impossible basically to enumerate all possible behavior of the contract, and hence, we can just iterate, kind of check and find exactly where the bugs are. So that's really what's the fundamental problem that prevents you from finding these bugs in a nice automated way. So people have tried many different approaches to find the bugs. And so you can just directly put the code, you can put the bytecode. If you have already a contract you can deploy it on the blockchain, you can directly put the address of this contract. And then once you have done this, you can scroll down here and click on this formally verify button, which would automatically try to figure out whether the contract is vulnerable with respect to certain kind of security issues. For example, if you have unprivileged right to an owner variable, that would mean that anyone can change the value of your owner variable, and that would mean that you have to do something about it. So that's basically it. And
so this
yes. Yeah, so if you had the bytecode, you could basically paste the bytecode here. It actually works with the bytecode. So even if you put the source code, you're going to have to compile it and then analyze it. Because that's ultimately what you deploy on the blockchain, so you want the guarantee on this thing. So I can also try to show you, so this is the parity wallet. So this, the first major bug that we had. And here you see, for example, that it would highlight this, you would have this unprivileged right to storage, which would tell you that, it would basically tell you that anyone would be able to change your owner value, and then you can go about fixing this issue before deploying the contract. All right, I think we're back on track with the mic. By the way, like maybe some program analysis people, yeah? That's fine.
I'm interested from a business perspective. If I were to be using software to test my wallet, whether it's secure or not, obviously hackers come up with new ideas all the time how to exploit vulnerabilities. And do you guys have people who just sit there thinking how to like white hat hackers sort of thing, thinking how to add more and more and more automated tests to your tests, or like how do you keep up that?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, that's a very valid point, right? Because here we check for specific kind of security issues. If attackers are creative, they come up with new ways to attack you. They can still exploit your contract. So that's basically what you described. So we have really good white hackers that check manually the code, try to find bugs, check for not only security, also functionality bugs. And basically anything they discover, we put in. So next time you don't have to check it. Because the list really grows, and you don't want to kind of rely on a person to find this. So it's like a constantly improving the system this way.
For writing your product, do you choose a language like Haskell, which is typically from verification, or something?
So we chose Java, yes. So we haven't verified the implementation of the system. So it's the best effort on that end. Yeah. I think there was a hand here.
So if you write a smart contract in, let's say, list in JavaScript or on EOS platform, I don't know which one is the system going to work, or do you need a different set of web app developers working for a couple of months to figure out bugs?
For which platform is this? For
any
Yeah, I'm going to show you basically how it works on the in the background, and then essentially you would have to have another decompiler to this analysis engine if you want to. But some of the bugs that are applicable to Ethereum really apply also in the other blockchain platforms.
Basically, I think I want to start from this question though. I mean, if you wanted to have a different language or even a different virtual machine, how could we, let's say, integrate with what you guys are doing? Or let's say we compile out to LLVM or something like that. Do you have ways to analyze that?
Yeah, so well, actually we've thought exactly about these things. Like, let's just compile to well-known frameworks. There's SU, there's LLVM, and then plug in existing engines. So these are all very good ideas, good things to do. For some platforms, this actually comes out of the box. If you take Hyperledger, for example, Fabric, so they write their contracts in Go, and you have LLVM compiler that you could directly, you have directly LLVM, and you can just encode the security patterns. So we're also actually working on that end. So we have a solution for Hyperledger as well. Yes. Yes, so this is basically any form of verification is only as good as your specification. So if you mess up there, it's game over. So, but having a specification is definitely better than no specification. So ultimately, you want to be better than, you don't want to be the easy catch on the blockchain. Yep.
Would you be able to give the microphone to the people asking the questions?
Sure, no problem. Okay, so let's move on. So we released the system in the fall last year. There was quite a lot of positive feedback. There were very interesting discussions on Reddit. Like, people were asking, how could you automatically verify Turing-complete languages? So we had a lot of fun, having these discussions with the blockchain developers. And just to give you some intuition of what's happening under the hood. So what the system does is it takes the bytecodes directly. Then, as a first step, it would decompile this into another intermediate representation that's much easier to analyze and find bugs. So this could be LLVM. We have our own kind of representation specifically for smart contracts. And then, as a second step, it performs some kind of different kinds of static analysis to infer specific facts that hold about the contract. So this can be simple things like, is this variable constant? Does this variable depend on this instruction? Things like this. And then, based on this information, it is able to check for the different security vulnerabilities that we're interested in. And the main point is that this is, fully automated, easy to extend, because we have this specific security language kind of to write these patterns. So whenever new things appear, we could easily update and deploy an update of the system. So after the release, there was quite a lot of interest, especially last fall with all the bugs that were happening. Actually, it was funny. For the second parity bug, the frozen wallet, so this pattern we had in the system since July last year. And nobody run the parity wallet against our system. So we just thought it's a very good idea if you could, we were brainstorming what would you check for in a smart contract. And we thought, well, if you can put money in and you can't take them out, that's probably a bad idea. So, yeah, I think it would be useful to use these systems more often. So at Chain Security, what the vision is basically, we want to develop the first automated audit platform for smart contracts. And based on this platform, we're currently providing also security audits for many clients that deploy the smart contracts on the blockchain. So this is our main focus. We're also working with Swiss banks, Swiss financial institutions that want to have some kind of products on the blockchain, so we can sell them in terms of like which blockchain to use, whatever kind of consultation they need, basically. All right, so with this I'm going to conclude. So just a little bit of summary. So on the research side, we do many other things beyond the blockchain security. So here's a list of systems that you're free to check out. And in the startup space, so we have Chain Security. Currently, we're actively hiring more people. So if you are interested to join the team, so we're looking basically for talented developers, but not only, also for very strong business people, community managers and so forth. So if you're interested in this space, please just talk to me after this event. Thank you.
You'll be probably here afterwards for the networking, so if you want more questions, you can ask Peter. It was a great presentation. Now, before the next presentation, I just want to invite Ilyan here, who basically organizes a very interesting conference called Liberty Bits in Sofia about the whole space, basically. And we are doing a lot of these things here to kind of show you what's happening, because Sofia actually has a chance to become some sort of a cluster around that technology. If you've recently seen, Nako from Software University launched like a blockchain development program, and funds like Launch Company investing in these kind of things, and it's happening. Like we have 3, 4, 5 already successful ICOs which are developing interesting technology, so it's kind of going on for a small city we are. So you can tell more about Liberty Bits.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi guys, my name is Ilyan Kirkov, and basically I'm an IT guy, but nothing with blockchain, etc., cryptocurrencies, although I'm crypto enthusiast since, let's say, a little less than a year. So one of the inspirations for me was Andreas Antonopoulos in his talks. So I thought it would be perfect if a guy like him could come to Sofia and deliver a speech, because there is a big need of understanding what's behind, what's happened behind, what is this Bitcoin thing in cryptocurrency, etc., etc. And then I thought it would be even better if this kind of, or such a conference could cover more topics around our freedom. And the revelations of Edward Snowden were another thing which have inspired me. So I decided to organize such event, and I called it Liberty Bits. And it will be here in Sofia Tech Park on 24th of April, and it will cover 3 main topics: so blockchain and every kind of blockchain product, not only the cryptocurrency, but also really meaningful and interesting projects. From one side, the other thing will be privacy and free software, because there is a need also that the society think about whether they have something to hide, and how they can insist for their right of privacy with all those companies and organizations which are trying to steal it away from us. And the last thing is the life of the grid, or let's say how, with the existing technologies, we could step away from the dependencies of all the energy, the legacy energy providers, and to become much more independent or less dependent on them, without losing our comfort. So we are still in development stage of this conference. I'm approaching really people and projects from all over the world, and perhaps we could switch a little bit to the website. So I would say everyone who is interested in presenting or delivering a talk of this conference is welcome, and I will be here. If we can scroll down, we will see some known faces from Bulgaria, but here are only the people which have committed to the conference. There are also people from abroad which are, let's say, about to commit. And we're still searching for sponsors for the whole event, because, yeah, you know, everything relies on money and funding. So this is actually a small announce of this. It will become my dream, which have the chance to be fulfilled. So That's I wanted to talk.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for your attention.
Perfect. The more of these things are happening in Sofia, the better, because, you know, obviously that's learning and education about these things. Bobby Belev in 2014, I think, at the end, or 15, organized like one of the first conferences here, Coin Wisdom, and he invited a lot of like top names in the space, and it was good that, you know, Sofia kind of becomes something. The next presentation will be by Ana Maria, and basically it's going to be about valuing ICOs. I'm personally, well, putting some money, not investing, because nowadays everybody's investing. And it's very difficult to kind of think, well, what are the factors to consider, because it's such a, you know, crowded and noisy space nowadays. So it's very good to have some sort of thesis, very good to have some sort of methodology to kind of value these things and know where you put your money with a long-term goal, whatever your goals are. And she will tell us more. Okay, thanks.
Okay, hey everyone. I'm going to talk about the pre and post valuations for ICOs. Who have already participated in any sort of ICOs? Okay, so like a third of you. Okay, that's quite good. Okay, so probably want to hear more about me. I'm a blockchain analyst in Launchpad Ventures. As you can see on the poster over there, we're a venture capital fund. We've actually won the award for the best venture capital fund in Central and Eastern Europe for 2017. We're an early stage fund. We're looking for companies at the seed stage. So initial coin offerings falling in between our range. So what is an ICO? An ICO, or initial coin offering, is a new way of funding. It is seen as a substitute of venture funding, as the companies can straight go into the masses, so everyone can invest. You don't need to be an accredited investor, you don't need to be a venture capital fund to invest. So as you can see on the graph, the ICO funding went over $1 billion in 2017, and already surpassed venture funding for that year in Q4. So pre-ICO valuation. So every pre-ICO valuation starts from a due diligence. So the due diligence starts with the market. So you should always check what the market is. If it's big enough, what are the trends, what are the investment trends, is anyone investing in that market, how saturated it is with startups, how fragmented is the market usually. Because if you don't get into a market that's big enough, and there are already quite a few players, there's a huge risk with that new project that is going to be crunched by the market. So the second thing you should look for is the business model of that startup, because you can have an amazing idea, an amazing market, and a very bad business model. The next thing you should look at is the token sale and the token appreciation. We can see token sales ranging from Dutch auctions and reverse Dutch auctions, and we can see projects selling between 25 and 70% of the total token supply. So this is so the token sale is very important for the whole company. The next thing that should be evaluated is the technology. Most of the companies claim to do that amazing new thing, but on some occasions you can see that the technology is completely useless, or the code is really, really bad. If it's outsourced and you have the technological knowledge, you can actually check that. Or sometimes they're even claiming to do things that cannot actually be done in practice. So it's very important to check the technology. Community and supporters. Never underestimate the size of the community, because if you invest in a really great company with a great token sales structure but with zero marketing, it is likely that this company won't be prosperous. because in the crypto space, it's very important to have a really big community with really big marketing. So more people will know about that particular token, more will get into the market, more will buy. There should be hype. Usually ICOs, the good ICOs are oversubscribed already. And last but not the least, legislation and legal matters. So recently you've seen what happened with the SEC, even the Bulgarian government is trying to regulate crypto now. So some of the companies are selling securities, which is, and they're not compliant with organizations like the SEC. So this is very important to you as investors, because if the company is unregulated and they're selling securities, that makes it illegal. So if you buy into an illegal company, then it could backfire at you, and you can eventually lose all of your investment. So that's an Excel example of what I do. I use a point system. So I evaluate everything from business proposal, market, token sale, token appreciation, team and relations, and social media. Depending on different conditions, I assign different scores, and the maximum score that a company can get is 100. So here you can see a company called Dovo. It's a UK startup dealing with car mobility data. Basically, they're selling data from cars on the marketplace through APIs. They did an ICO in late October, but you can see I gave them only 60 points out of 100 because, yes, there is a blockchain necessity, but they don't have a product out yet. They don't have a public product. They're only at an alpha or beta stage. They have non-customer base, but the roadmap seems quite strong. The code, I assume, is solid because it's not open source yet. But they have some quite good team, so let's trust them. With the market, you can see mobility and car data market is huge. The innovation adoption is quite fast as more and more companies like General Motors are getting into it. They're partnering and they're trying to build their own marketplaces within each car consortium. But there's an issue with that because General Motors cannot really talk to Mercedes, to Benz, and they cannot really share data as they're not in the same consortium, which makes it more difficult for advertisers to gain more valuable data. So they need to subscribe to more marketplaces. Next is a token sale. You can see the company selling 25% of their tokens for $28 million, which is a huge valuation for a company in such an early stage, which is not good. So we get immediate distribution period. That means you get the tokens right after you send the transaction. So the market cap is almost 114 million. So that's a company with no product, no existing customer base, just a few partnerships and a few investments from already big companies. So that's why you can see the market cap rating is high. So the condition for market cap for me is anything above 60 million is a high market, is a very high market capitalization for such companies. You can see I evaluate the token appreciation, if the token has any utility or if it's a security. You can see I even include the inflation because with the tokens that are made to be deflationary, they actually have a really, really big inflation in the short term, but then in the long term, the inflation dilutes, and over time, it's actually below 1%. With the team and relations, the core team has really strong experience. The core size is quite big. They're around 15 people, I believe. They have strong advisors. They have people from Jaguar that invested in them. So that earned them quite a few points. They have investors, they have partners, they have strong presence on the social media. So basically they have around 6,000 people on the Telegram, which in October was a really big number. Now this number is ranging from 30 to 40,000 people. That's pretty much the average for the market at this point. So another thing you can do is using the Berkshire method. That's what most business angels are doing to check for companies that don't have any return, any product yet, so they can't do a proper valuation. So this only works for companies that don't have revenue, because once you have the revenue for that company, it's no longer applicable as it's not including it, so it will be really skewed and biased. So again, we start from a sound idea. If the idea have like any basic value, if there is any risk, like the market's too small or the market's too big but extremely fragmented with lots of players in it, and then you add to the pre-money valuation. The pre-money valuation is the valuation of the company before any investment. So according to that method, you can assign a valuation between $0 and $500,000. So what I did here so that's just an example. It's not an actual company. I'll show you the example for the same company, Dovo, afterwards. So what I did for Dovo is I gave them $300,000 for a sound idea, because the car data is projected to become a $750 billion industry, which is huge. The prototype, they don't have any prototype ready yet, so that's why I put a 0. But once the prototype is out, this number will increase depending on the quality and the usability of the marketplace. They have a decent management team, but it's not an A team, it's not a star team, so that's why it's not a 500,000, it's only 350,000 valuation. The strategic relationships are 250,000 because they have VCs, they have Rolls-Royce and Jaguar invested, but they don't have any partners within the blockchain area or any of the really hyped investors, like star investors in there. With the product sales, I gave them 200,000 because Jaguar invested already and they stated that they really like their product. So they're thinking of using that marketplace. So that came about $1,100,000. Wow, you can see the company raised $6 million, but they wanted 28 million initially, so they didn't reach the market. They just about reached the soft cap. They couldn't reach the hard cap. So the actual valuation is about 1 million, and the market valued them at 6 million. The market capitalization as of 30th of January is 18 million, which is still relatively small compared to the initial market capitalization that was estimated. You can see the trading volume is really, really low. It's only 26,000 because they have presence only on 2 exchanges, Ether Delta, which some of you may know that is not very reputable. Most of the people steer away from it because you can get mistaken because scammers use the same name of the coin. Everyone can add coins if you have the smart contract available. So it's a very dodgy exchange. And the other one is Hit Bitcoin, but not many people are on there. There are not many new people signing up there. It's mostly like crypto traders. So the next one is the key performance metrics post ICO. That is as equally as important as the pre-ICO metrics. So some of the things you can look for is the Sharpe ratio. Yes, we can estimate a Sharpe ratio when we get the rate of returns of the crypto assets minus them by the rate of return of a risk-free asset. And for a risk-free asset, you can use treasury bills. As a government can print as much money as they want, so they can never default on a treasury bill. And then you divide them by the volatility, and your volatility is your standard deviation of the prices. So you can track volatility over time, basically how volatile the price is. It is estimated that the lower the market cap, the lower the market cap, the lower the trading volumes are, the more volatile is the asset, because essentially everyone can be a market maker. You should check the price independence. So the price independence is how independent the price is from indices like S&P 500 or from the gold or from the silver. The next one that should be monitored is the global trade volumes by fiat currencies. So we don't get this for our example, Dovu. They only traded crypto to crypto. They're not trading any fiat currencies. But for example, you can do it for Bitcoin, you can do it for Ether, or you can do it for any other coin that can be bought with fiat money. Fiat money is the money we're using daily as currencies. For example, the BGN, the USD, the GBP, etc. The market cap over time should be monitored because, as I said, low market caps, low trading volumes are giving you the notion of really high volatility, which means the asset will take more time to mature. So, yeah, market cap should be tracked. Next, what we can do to track the current utility, which is the non-trading part of the price, because each price is taken as current, as part of it is the current utility value, and other part is the trading value. So that's only for the non-traded bit, which actually gives you the value from owning that coin. So you can calculate the crypto PE ratio, which is price to utility value ratio. The lower the number, the better. You should track network maturity over time. Utility transaction volume over time is really tough to compute because only non-traded transactions should be monitored, and you can't really tell from a transaction what it is used for. So next is the potential future network value. This is all estimations you should do on your own. For example, the revenues and future market share. You have to do your own research on that. It's basically, it depends on the average for the averages for the market, the average revenues of other competitors, startups, if there are any. Then the token supply trajectory. That means, is the token supply capped? How is it gonna go over time? How many tokens will be issued over time? If the supply is capped, how many tokens are outstanding? If it's not capped, what it is depending on what is the difficulty of mining that coin? If it's pre-mined, what is the issuance model? Yeah, so that's an example I did with the same company, Dovu, as now it is post-ICO. They don't have the MVP yet, but they're still post-ICO. So the rate of return estimated is 218% as of today. And Bitcoin as of today is 102% since October. So we can say that that ICO is doing really well. It's doing better than the Bitcoin, basically, which is widely used as a benchmark in this market. The next thing I calculated is the annual volatility, which is based on 365 trading days. The annual volatility is 1.49, which is quite a big number. That means the asset is extremely volatile, which confirms our hypothesis that the lower market cap, the more volatile is the market for that coin. And then you can see the Sharpe ratio is 1.45. 1.45, that means the asset is investing in this asset is way better than investing in the London Stock Exchange, for example, which has Sharpe ratio of 0.7. But everything should be assessed critically because those numbers are really, really good. But for example, the company sold only 25% of the tokens. So it's not really decentralized, is it? Then the currency is only traded on Ether Delta and Hit Bitcoin, as I said. And there are no pairs with fiat currencies yet. So as you can see, that's according to CoinMarketCap. Dovo is ranked at number 574 per trading volumes. And the lower the ranking is, the more volatile the price will be. So you can, if you're an experienced trader, you can take advantage of the big swings, but if you're not experienced, that will not make you money. The utility value here is taken as the ICO price because the team hasn't got the product out yet, so there's no actual utility at this point. So the ICO price was 11 cents, and the current price is 28 cents. So our speculative value is 17 cents because, as I said, the price is constituted by the speculative value and the current utility value. And then you can see the PE ratio is 2.55. That number is relatively big, which is not very good. So yeah, do you have any questions? If you need any more information on that, you can write me on the Sofia Crypto Meetup group, or you can find me on Facebook. Yes?
The return rate is based in BTC price or USD price?
I use the return rate as in BTC price because I haven't computed the market averages for the cryptocurrencies yet, so I'm comparing to other traditional markets. But it can be done for Bitcoin as well, for Satoshi value, basically. Any other questions?
Very good presentation and really like the depth of it. I'm just thinking these co-ICOs have a bit of a different model than, let's say, a traditional startup where, you need to reach network effects in order to become something big. But in this case, you have the speculative value at the beginning, which actually plays well for the company to become something over time, because basically they can play until the token speculates and they can extract value out of it. So what is the goal of the model? Is it to find the company long-term, whether it will be an interesting asset? Or is it something which basically post-ICO, like at what time scale you're looking at the asset and like, yeah, that's pretty much my question.
I'm looking into medium to long-term investments due to the nature, because the fund cannot really invest short-term. So I'm looking into medium to long-term investments. For the current utility value, so the current utility value shows you the price, the minimum price that will be reached during a correction, because that is the utility that's given to every customer. Yes, it is. The notion is that is the lowest possible point. The lowest possible price they can achieve at this point is just 11 cents, and they should not go lower than that.
Have you made any analysis on Telegram ICO?
Oh, on the Telegram ICO. Well, I haven't read the white paper yet, but I don't like it because they're trying to raise 1 billion. So that's quite of a big sum for a messaging app. I know they wanted to do in the crypto sphere. Everyone's using it because it's secure, but come on, 1 billion. It's way overpriced. Yeah. Well, the exit point, the question was about the exit points, how do I determine my exit points? So basically it really depends on the project. If I'm investing for myself, I'm investing short-term, medium-term, and long-term. So basically short-term is called flipping, it's basically trading. As soon as you get the token, as soon as the price appreciates, let's say 10 times, I'll sell that because I don't think the idea is really sound, or I don't think the team will deliver a product, so I don't see a long-term potential in that. But if I invest medium or long-term, I'll first wait for the product to be out, I'll wait for the people to get to know the project, I'll wait for some network effects to be generated. So this could take from 6 months to above a year. In this time, the price will appreciate. Sometimes you can even make 100x. But that should not be a proxy. Okay, so I haven't invested in ICOs yet because I first wait for an exchange, for them to hit an exchange, because let's say in the Dovo example, it took them a few months to get on an exchange, which is not very nice. I'm going to invest in another one tomorrow, actually. It's called WePower. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Have you whitelisted for the WePower, or are you going to invest just 0.2? So what's your contribution limit?
0.2 interest.
Oh, so you, no pre-sale, just 0.2. Oh, okay, okay.
What are the ICO advisors that you follow?
So some of the ICO advisors I would follow the person from the Bancor protocol, because I know some people say Bancor is a scam, but I think they have a really, really good team. I follow quite a few YouTubers, but I don't take their evaluations as a proxy. I do my own due diligence, but they usually have the access to some of the best, some really good projects. For example, they might reject an ICO and I think is really good. Let's say Ian Ballin, I don't know if you've heard of him. He rejected some really, really decent ICO projects, and my own opinion is because they didn't really give him any bounties. Exactly, yeah. He's not supportive of some of the latest projects because basically they're not paying him. Yeah. Well, it's just a personal preference of him, I guess. But yeah, with him, he's a so-called influencer. So every influencer is asking for some compensation to their own review. So don't take them as a proxy. Yeah, any other questions? Okay.
I was wondering, you said you are at LaunchUp, which is great. Thanks for the information. I was wondering, is LaunchUp or you, not personally, but the company interested in ICOs like tokens or pre-ICOs, like pre-sales of the tokens that the team offered in order to build that MVP? Because if you're looking at that stage, the Dovo example should be like a great opportunity for you because they don't have an MVP, right? So it's a good time.
Well, as of today, every venture capital company is trying to get pre-ICO. Let's say every company, every ICO at this point, every ICOing company has private sales, they have pre-ICOs, and they have the main crowd sale, which is called the ICO. So every fund is trying to get as early as possible because you get the discounts, of course, so you get the better revenues. But if the projects will be really, really good and it's at an ICO stage, that hasn't happened yet, but if it happens, we might actually invest.
So pre-ICO without MVP is something?
Well, pre-ICO without an MVP is really, really risky. So I would personally present it to the partners, but I would give them the absence of any product yet as a red flag, and it's up to them to decide, basically. So. Oh.
Yeah. Do you have a specific sector that you're looking in to make a due diligence, like energy, marketing tools, developer tools, interoperability, protocols? Like, do you have some strategy to specify on some sectors that are more interesting about the blockchain?
So with sector agnostic, but we're looking closely at the fintech area, exchanges. Yeah, because that is the closest to my background, because I have a background in economics, so I can evaluate those projects the best. But I've done researches on markets like car data. I've done for the energy markets. So yeah, we're pretty much sector agnostic.
Any more questions?
It's not a question, just wondering what's your opinion about BitConnect?
Well, BitConnect is a well-known scam, as you know. I haven't evaluated it yet, but yeah, it's deemed to crash pretty soon. They already closed down, so that's not a very good sign, for a project. For BitConnect. Yeah, it's not an ICO. Well, I haven't checked it, but it might score around 50, 60. That's why you need. That's why you don't need to trust those models straight away. Like, I know numbers are pretty straightforward, but you need to read the story behind those numbers. For example, in my example with Jovo, the company scored quite well, 60 out of 100. It's not too bad. You saw the PE ratio. It's really high, but it's still not too bad. The volatility is high, but we have a really low market cap, and we have lots of room to grow. But then you saw with the ICO, they sold only 25% of their tokens, and those are usage tokens. They're not even securitized tokens. So that doesn't even mean that they're selling 25% of the company. They just sold 25% of the access to their future product, which is really, really bad, because it makes it quite centralized. Also, the numbers for the team gets quite a lot from that distribution, so the team doesn't really have much incentive to build the product. They can just sell the tokens and go away. Yeah.
You have something in the model where basically the ratio between the sold tokens and the team hold tokens is 2 in the side of the team, because basically they can just create like an inflation sort of thing and bump the price down, which is happening to like many projects.
Yeah. Well, this doesn't go as a specific metric, but it goes into consideration in the token sale and token appreciation part of the model. I don't have it on the spreadsheet, but I'm the human factor here, so I pretty much base on my decisions on that. If the team is getting more than 25% from the token sale, it's a no deal for me.
What about EOS?
EOS?
One year.
It's not happening.
I don't know, maybe she has an opinion.
No.
Everything which is in Manhattan on the billboard doesn't exist.
No.
Too late. Fashion TV, by the way.
Thank you. Very nice going to me all the time. What are your ICO targets in the future and why?
What do you mean?
ICO targets. You said WePower, but do you have anything else to which you want to invest?
Well, another one I looked at was Electrify Asia, which is basically a direct competitor to WePower, but I didn't get whitelisted, so I'll try to get into a pool or something. But yeah, it's a very decent. It seems like a decent project as well.
Is it mandatory for the project to incorporate blockchain technology or to be based on any blockchain platform in order to launch ICO?
Well, no, you can launch an ICO for pretty much every single company, but then it's not only for the crypto community, but still you need a token, so you need to be based on the blockchain. You might not need a blockchain necessity, but you still need to issue a token, you still need to build a smart contract. You can really copy-paste a smart contract from some other project. You can just change the name of the token. That's what some companies have actually done. They don't really need to utilize the blockchain, but they still do it, just to get the money. So.
Yeah, so you've been referring about it quite a few times, and I just wanted to clarify. What is the blockchain? It's a joke. It's a joke.
You want me to explain it to you? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Okay.
Are you going to upload the slides anywhere?
Yeah, I can upload all the slides on the Crypto Meetup group on Facebook. I believe like all of you must be on there. So if you have any questions, you can ask me there. I'll be more than happy to reply to you. If you have any questions about the models in terms of how to build your own spreadsheets and things like this, I can always help.
Very good stuff, by the way, and that's the whole point of the group, of the meetup. In the group itself, you can jump on the conversation via Facebook. We have like a lot of kind of trolls right now, which are really good people when they're here, but the group is kind of trolly sometimes, but don't be scared of that. Like, generally people are responsive and we can discuss topics there and so on and so forth. Anna Maria, amazing presentation. Thank you. That's pretty much it for today. Just want to point out that if you want to speak to Peter for any of the jobs that he mentioned for their project, not only developers, community managers, just go and speak to him. And now we can have like small networking or whatever you guys want. And yeah, you've been great. Thanks. To the moon.